Good evening, welcome everyone. CZ Gaming here with some brand new content. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Very first episode of a new series, and in that sense, an extra special episode because it's the very first video of the channel. So in that sense, let me maybe do a brief background on what I'll be doing here. We'll be covering Let's Plays, walkthroughs, reviews and critiques. Maybe at some point we'll delve into updates and news releases as well, but we'll have to see how that goes. For now, the focus will be on Let's Plays and walkthroughs. In this case, the very first game that we're picking up is Total War Rome Remastered. Why am I starting with this game? Rome Remastered, or rather Total War Rome, right? The game Rome itself was the very first game that I played in the Total War franchise. I've played the other ones afterwards, and I still really love the entire franchise. Obviously, the recent entries might not have been the best ones, but overall, my love for the franchise still stands. Now, they've obviously had a remastered version by Feral, the same guys who also did the Mac OS X change when they put it in a few years back. And I think it's just really a great game to start with, right? So mainly on this channel we'll be covering games that have a strategic or tactical edge to it. And on the plus side, I really like history, and obviously Roman Remastered is a great fit for that. I specifically love Roman history, so this Let's Play, it'll be a combination of me walking you through my thought process as we play the game, some of the strategic components, and I'll try to sprinkle in a few historical facts and lessons as we go along as well. Now, this first episode won't be a very long one. I'd say we'll do around 20 or 30 minutes just to have the initial things set up, and then we'll see how we do. Alright guys, let's get into it. Obviously, new game. As I said, I've played it before, so by no means is this a blind Let's Play, but still I think it'll be fun. Definitely doing the Imperial campaign. And then let's see, well, starting franchise. The three different families, Scipii, Brutii, and the Julii. Which one are we going for? Right, so probably not the yeah. Alright, let's see. Yeah, we're going with the Julii. I know it's pretty standard choice to make, but I've got a soft spot for the Julii. The Red Romans, if you will, right? I think it's the traditional color of the Romans. It's just excellent to play with. So, we'll be turning off the advice level. As I said before, we can manage. Hard and hard is fine. Battle limit, it's kind of gamey. I don't really like that. So we'll keep that one in. Show each characters. Yeah, sure, that's fine. I might regret this as we have multiple characters later on, but let's see. Realistic governor. Governor must be present to manage a settlement. Alright. See, this is a tricky one. Sure, if you want to be accurate, you need a governor to manage a settlement. But you can also say that as a general or as a governor, you're able to put a captain in place and keep him on a tight leash. So we'll be keeping this one off. We'll keep the tutorial off, that should be fine. Alright, let's get into it.
Did you think I'd be out here on the frontier without good reason? Yes, Rome needs a strong frontier. No, Rome doesn't need unwashed barbarians at her gates. So, that's why I'm here, the leader of the Julii, to bring Roman order to stinking Gauls. Revenge? That'd be good too. This war against the Gauls won't last long. And when it's done, I've got plans. This is all about power. Power in Rome. Going down that road means dealing with all my rivals. The Senate, the Greeks, those Carthaginian elephant riders, the Scipii and the Brutii families too. After all, the man who controls Rome rules the world. And one day, I will be emperor.
One day he will be emperor. It's good to know that we've only just started the game and the Republican principles are already out of the window. Alright guys, so let's see how we do here. Also guys, so this is the very first video, very first Let's Play that I'm making ever. I'm recording this all live because I personally find that if you do a Let's Play, let's see. Yeah, so I personally find that if you do a Let's Play, you should just record it live at the same time with obviously the audio here as well. Mainly because I think it just adds to the experience, right? I think you guys will be able to tell when something is added in later in post-production. It's just not as sharp or as tied into the actual moment, right? Right when something happens. So we'll be doing this all live. Now that might mean that it's not always as smooth as possible. I'm also still getting the hang of this. But I think over time we should be able to get used to each other nicely. Alright, let's see. So, we're starting off here. Julii, obviously in the northern part of Italy. Aratium, Arminum. Alright, so 2 cities, 1 spy, yes, 1 diplomat, 2 armies. Alright, Hastati, Julii, Roman archers. No, that's kind of special. Hastati and Velites. Alright. Maybe first of all, guys, just to get a feel for the game, right? And sprinkle in some history there. So Rome at this point, you know, we're still talking about the Republican time of Rome. Our main character alluded it into his intro as well, that he was really aiming to move towards an emperor. So that's kind of a Caesarian tactic to go for. But in the Republican times, no, Rome in that sense was governed by its 2 consuls, elected by the Senate. You know, and they got to rule. 2 consuls because they can even each other out, right? Even if one becomes a completely tyrannical freak, the other one is able to balance it out. And obviously, at the end of their terms, you'll swap them out anyways. Now, what's kind of odd in this game, right? So to match the history and the gaming components, is that Italy at this point is completely divided with their own cities, but also their own armies even. Right, so we've got the Brutii here in the east, the Scipii here in the south, which makes sense because Scipii himself did go into some of the major Africa campaigns. You know, that might be something we can get into later as well. And obviously we have the Julii here up north. Now, our main character, right, and also the actual historical character, strong distaste for barbarians. Had some family trauma in that field. I'll probably tell more about that later on as well. So we're obviously poised to push into the barbarian regions here. Now, what's odd though in this game is that it's so neatly divided, as I mentioned, right? So in the historical context of the Republic, sure, you might have had different families who have their own, you know, their own strong bases or their own regions where they're predominantly based in, but it won't be carved up the way it is now, right? Ultimately, the consuls are the supreme rulers of Rome, and they get to, you know, steer the entire apparatus accordingly. Whereas now, you know, there's a few armies here that are from the Senate itself, which I can't do anything with, and obviously also the armies from the other 2 factions. So it's kind of weird, but I do like it. Plus, this sets up nicely the civil war that we're about to head to. And that brings us to our strategy for this game, actually. So yes, we're poised to fight the Gauls and the Germanic tribes, right? The Britons, way up here. On the other hand, we're also poised to fight the Brutii and the Scipii. And we are in a unfavorable position. Why is that? Because the barbarian lands here are not per se super rich. Even with our excellent rule that we're able to provide them, still they will never be able to develop to the extent that, you know, for example, the Greek cities will, right? Some of the major cities here in Egypt as well. Middle East, yeah, sure, you know, as we move towards here with this Seleucid Empire. But yeah, so we're dealing with poorer regions. What does that mean for us? We're gonna have to try to cut them off. Now, you can go further out east. We can. But then all of a sudden we're dealing in a... Yeah, actually. Okay, so this is good. Okay, this is a new feature. Cool. Didn't have this in the actual Rome, but they added in the remastered. Right, so let's think this through. We're taking this part. We can either cut off the Brutii by venturing east. That would be very tight if we can actually cut them off by Greece here. I don't think we'll be able to manage that. Otherwise, we have the Scipii. Now, they're already on Sicily, so we won't be able to cut them off here. We might be able to stop them from Carthage. Yeah. Alright. So I'm thinking that we're just going to take control of the western part of the map, right? The Brutii can have the east. We're going to try to conquer west, focus on the south part, and roll it through to Egypt. And it's going to be the way to go. And then at the time of the Civil War, we'll deal with the Brutii when it gets to it. Yeah. Which means that we're going to have to move probably to this side first, right? As soon as we get into war with the Gauls, they're not going to stop. And I just don't want to move into Gaul and deal with that mass. And now we're stuck fighting on two fronts. Make sense? Expand west, focus on the south, unify the west at some point, and then we'll crush the Romans at a later point in time. Alright, let's set things up. First of all, economy. Let's see, what are we at? Not what I'm looking for. Financial overview over here. The finances first, so no, I probably can't help it. I work in finance myself as well in in the regular working days. So first thing I look at, and what are we doing? Okay, so we started off in that, and yeah, okay, so we're in the negative. That's unfortunate. All right, so we'll kick out one ship because we don't really need that. Let's see. Governor's Villa. Yeah, so over here we have roads. It's not amazing. Wooden wall, stables, practice range, trader. What's this? Trade income. See, this would be good, but we don't really have a lot of trade income yet, because base trade income bonus 100%. Right, so that's good. Alright, let's go with that. Same for you here. We have Suggesta. Tricky. Diplomats. Alright, so this one is going on a nice round trip. We need another diplomat as well, because that will be tricky. So you over here. I'll send this guy out west, one guy out east. Yeah. Should be fine. Cool. Alright, let's see. Faction heir, confident commander, politician. Alright, so basically I just want to get a feel for which generals we have. I'll keep some as governors and some as battlefield commanders. So this guy, for example, faction heir, confident commander, politician, superb administrator. Alright, so he'll probably stay in the city. That's fine. How about you? Natural born general, confident attacker. Right, so this guy doesn't have anything on the governor side. Drill master's bell. Alright, so that's good. Battles are less frightening for new soldiers. Excellent. So this guy needs to go to the battlefield. Now, can we swap someone out? Our faction leader, commander. Right, so, yeah. Commander, definitely. And you. Politician, skilled bureaucrat. Alright. So, you can go here. And you can take his spot. Excellent. Now, we don't need... Yeah. So this is fine, actually. Transfer you over. Yeah. Alright, so army composition wise, right? Mainly the Hastati. Hastati were basically the you know, the poorer line infantry, so to speak. Right? So if you think of the Romans at that time, kind of fought in different units based on how economically well off they were, right? So it was into combat, you know, we'll set everything up in our way. Hastati, Roman archers. Sorry, got distracted for a bit. No, but so in the historical times, right, they had the Hastati, which would be the first front line, right? Generally younger, poorer guys as such, right? So they'll have had less, you know, less good weapons. Their equipment would have been less, right? So both for the weapons as well as any armor that they'd be carrying. So they'd be the front line because they're expendable, I suppose, right? And then afterwards, you know, you had the, for example, don't have all the units yet, right? But the Principes would be the second line, slightly older, slightly better equipment, and then at the very back you'd have the Triarii, spearmen, right? Your most experienced veterans had the best equipment, so that makes sense, right? You can probably see it here as well. Exactly, all veteran soldiers, well armored, cool. So you could say I keep these at the very end, right, to bring them in. You could also say, from a gaming perspective, I might want to keep these guys up front, but we'll see how we do. So I'll probably clear out most of my cities because I'm not too concerned. For example, Town Watch, that's good, right? These can stay there. These guys can go to the army. Send these guys up to Sugestica, right? There's pretty much no one there. We can take this in the get-go. Give us the first battle as well. What are we in? 20 minutes about? Yeah, let's do this. Alright, very first battle, guys. Exciting. Well, yeah, it's not the most exciting battle of all time. It's pretty easy, but we'll fight this one on the map. I'll try to fight all of the battles on the map. Obviously, you know, you can auto-resolve them as well. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it's just fun to play them on the map itself, right? The main reason why you maybe want to auto-resolve some fights here is that, especially when it comes to sieges, it gets a bit tricky, especially the pathfinding in this game. Yeah, it's probably not still amazing.
Over there, the rebel slaves stand to threaten us all. Should they win, at best we will all die beneath their cruel whips. It turns my stomach just to gaze upon them. By
Okay,
this time
okay.
tomorrow, our sword arms will ache from overuse.
Alright, excellent. I do miss those speeches in the newer editions of the franchise, right? These general speeches, they're cool. They're hit and a miss. Sometimes they'll be excellent. Right? This was a pretty good one. Other times they won't say much, but it's fine. Anyways, well, normally I'd group things, right? So my hostility, probably your front line, you'd group those, group the archers, keep your shock cavalry as the shock troops on the side. In this case, we don't really have a lot of people, so we don't really need to group them. I think we're fine as is. So what will we do? Yeah, I mean it's basic town, right? So probably we'll just sandwich them, right? So send one. I can't? Oh, surprising. Alright, fine. Then we'll do it in 2. So one Astati to the side here. One Astati to the side here. I suppose this guy will be the main group. Alright, let's do it. Yes, I could have waited for better conditions. It's raining, but honestly, if we're not able to win this, then we kinda suck anyways. Let's just see what they do. I'm curious if they'd actually want to venture out at all. I can't really imagine, but I assume they're just going to sit in the square. Yeah, alright. Fine. So we'll just move the Astati up. No, don't run. Keep in guard mode. Same for these guys. Yeah. No, don't run. Keep in guard mode. Fired will. That's okay. Yeah, cool. Right, so the general, if you can make your way to the side, you really need to run. And the archers, yeah, just rank up there. So the plan is form up into fronts. So the Astati, right? So they're carrying the gladius, their short sword. Actually, not an invention from the Romans. They got that out of Spain. But either way, so they've got the sword, mainly meant for stabbing, not so much slashing. So it's a shorter sword, which really works well in tandem with a large shield, right? So you're able to stay behind your shield, stab as the opponent comes towards you. Obviously, it works even better if you stay in formation, right? Which we'll try to do here. So you link in as the Roman groups together, shield to shield. Your gladius sticks in between to stab there. So that's good. Roman archers, exciting unit. Romans didn't really use archers as much. If they did use archers, they were auxiliary troops. If it comes to the actual Romans, for their ranged weapons, you're more looking at velites. Hang on. Right, so these are firing. Yeah, so for the Romans themselves, you're looking more at velites, which are, lightly armored troops who... rank this one up. So velites are more lightly armored troops who are throwing spears. Right? Mostly they'll have a shorter range compared to... Okay, hang on. What's actually happening here? Stop. Alright, so these guys should be able to hold a line against a bunch of peasants. I hope. We'll send these guys in. As well as just... So the Hastati are now throwing their pila. Basically spears, right? The Hastati is obviously their shock troops, but they would be carrying both the swords as well as the pila, which are basically ranged weapons. So my only worry about these archers is that we're getting into some friendly fire if we do it on these guys. So I'll have them fire on this group instead. Generals coming in. Actually, let's send the general to these guys. I think they need it more. So this should... You're gotta be kidding me, right? Alright, that is the biggest fluke I've ever seen, honestly. Okay, that's just unlucky, right? He was spearheading the charge. The troops were faced the other way, and he dies on the very first go. Alright, so you guys can stop firing. Can you believe that, guys? Honestly, that's amazing. Very first go, dies immediately. Oh, absolutely not. We're killing every last one of these suckers right now. No, actually, I think we're finished. Yeah, there's no one left. Alright. Fine. Let's just, You really want this battle? Do you want to leave the battlefield? Yes, there's no one left. So, what did we do? Deployed, inflicted remaining. So we lost very few, among which our general. That's unfortunate. Also our factionaire. He inflicted 40. Yeah. Alright, well. Is what it is, guys. Suppose one of the other bureaucrats will be called upon now to step in as a general. So you can see for now, right, guys, what we did with this battle. So your Hastati, they're frontline troops. I think the Roman infantry obviously works best if you keep them in position, in line. For now, we've just got the Hastati, so the cheapest troops. At time, you know, when we later on get to the Principes and the Triaria as well, then we'll try to see if we can actually do some, you know, some triple ranks there. But for now, this is all we have. Yeah. This is just unfortunate. Alright, guys, so Sagesta. It's obviously just a small minor village, useful to have. I mean, there's hardly anything there. Well, definitely build it up in Roman governor's house. Get able, you know, so we'll be able to get roads in there as soon as we can. And then, you know, for the next episode, we'll be looking south. I mean, I could go for the goals. So you have Batavium, Mediolanum here. Alright, obviously major cities. Mediolanum would at one point become the capital of the Roman Empire to push the city further up north. But yeah, you know, the issue is you can take it and try to block off all the mountain passes, but the Gauls will be pissed, right? If I take these two, they won't let it slide and they'll keep on coming. Which means that I'll need a decent force here to keep them at bay at all times, which is hard because I kind of want to use my troops to venture south. If I can cut off the Scipii, that's great. So I'll try to negotiate with the Gauls, establish trade rights, keep them at bay for the time being, and then we'll see afterwards. Let's skip the turn for now. Not much else to do.
Greetings.
Trade rights. Yeah, sure. Why not? Yeah, you see, that's what I mean. On one hand, they do trade rights. On the other hand, we've got a border that's immediately stuffed with an army. Alright. Can we build anything here? Yes, we can. Wooden palisade. It is on the border right now with the Gauls, so let's go with the palisade first. For here, major important here is that we're actually able to build up some troops. So we go to the... What are we able to do now? So we're able to build up statis, but we don't have anything that is ranged. For example, we look at the practice range here. Exactly, so this is the velites, right? So this is kind of the troops that I meant earlier. Lightly armored, don't really hold up well in the fight, but you know, they're throwing the spears, they're relatively fast because they're lightly armored. Bonus versus elephants and chariots. That's not bad, actually. Yeah, so let's get with these. And what can we build here? So far nothing yet, so we definitely need militia barracks over here. For now, let's do one town watch. We'll send that over to Suggesta. I kind of want to clear this one out of my other troops here. These need to be retrained. Port here is fine. Yeah. Alright, so this is probably the army that we're gonna send south to at least deal with Corrales. Yeah, let's merge these two. Leave that 48 behind. Move this one into this army. I just want to get over there as quickly as possible, right? The sooner I can get rid of Palma and then Carthage over here, the sooner I can get back to the Gauls. Actually, that's not a good idea. Hang on. Let's cancel this one. You guys build another Hastati. You guys build the town watch, given that you can't do anything else. Anyways, that is the more efficient way to go about it. Agent-wise, this one will send you to the east, and you will be going west. So, you know, send you over here to the Germans first. Yeah. Okay, so that's it. Everyone's building. Army is mustering here to take that south. Don't need a lot here right now, especially in the beginning. Everyone is still building up, so you can probably get away with the army as is. I would like some more ranged troops in there, ideally, but we'll see how we do. Justice building, Armenians building. We've got trade rights with the Gauls, so for now they're at bay. Need to keep an eye on them though. Actually, that reminds me, my spy. Let's move you up north. Keep an eye on what they're doing here. Alright, that's it for this turn. And I think that's also where we end the episode. We're about at the half-hour mark now, so I think we'll leave it at that. Guys and girls, thanks everyone for joining. Hope you enjoyed it so far. Next episode, we'll be continuing with our plan south, trying to keep the Gauls at bay. So looking forward to the next episode already. For everyone who's watching, enjoy the rest of your day or evening, depending on what time it is. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you really like the channel. That way, you know, you get the most recent updates for any new videos that I upload. And feel free to comment, right? Keen to hear you guys' thoughts. Let me know what you liked about the episode. If you've got any tips and tricks that I need to keep in mind, please let me know. Thanks everyone. CG Gaming out.